And if you like this video, please don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And Today, what we are gonna do, we are gonna learn about labels. So right now we have just added one widget to our screen, that is a button, and it works perfectly fine, but it is not much. Let's add a label also, let's add some more widgets like a label. So today we'll learn how to add a label on our screen, and then how to edit it on some event also, how to change its text on some event also. And labels are a very important aspect of our application, any application that we are creating. So this is gonna be very important for your GTK future, and for your all the programs that you create. So do watch this entirely, and without any delay, let's get started. Damn! So this over here, let's look at this example over here. Right now we are just jumping into the thing that how can we create a label. So over here, what we have done, we are including gtk.header file from GTK, right? As we always do, we have our end program method that is basically quitting our program. So we are using this end program method, and you won't understand this much if you haven't seen my last buttons video, so do check that out. So now over here, this is just a continuation with that program that we created in the buttons video. So over here, we are just calling the GTK main quit method. So over here, whenever end program will be called, our application will quit. And then basically we have our main method in which we have argc and argv, and then we are just initializing and passing it args and argv like we did. And then we are creating a window widget, and this is basically we are calling GTK window new to create our window widget, and passing it that this is our top level window. So this will be a top level window, and so we have passed it GTK window top level. So now it is telling that this will be a top level window, and our window widget has been created. Then we are creating another button widget, and this is the button widget that we created in the last video. So now we are creating a button widget. Its value is GTK button new with label. So we are calling GTK button new with label. So this will create a new button widget for us, and whatever label we pass it, like close window, that will be the name written on that button. So now button has a widget which has the name close window, right? So this button variable contains a widget of GTK button type, and on it will be written close window. Then we are adding a click signal to our button, and basically our callback function is our end program method. So basically whenever we receive the click signal, then it will just call the function that is passed to g callback, and that is our end program function that will just quit our program. And over here, automatically to end program, the widget that is in the widget because of which the clicked event occurred, that widget is being passed. So the button widget is being passed as the vid argument in our end program method, and then we are setting the general purpose pointers value to null. So we are just passing it null, as the value of the general purpose pointer is null, right? So over here the pointer variable's value is null, is passed null. And then we are connecting another signal with the window, and that is the delete event signal. So whenever that X button on our window will be pressed, then it will call the method that is passed to g callback, and that is our end program method. So to end program, the widget that will be passed will be the window, because because of that we are receiving the signal delete event. So whenever we receive the signal delete event, it will call end program and pass it window and a null, right? So the null is the second general purpose pointers value. And then we are adding our button to our window, right? And typecasting it to GTK container, and this is typecasting is explained in depth in the buttons video. Now, till now, this was our standard program. Now we move on to the part that is new for us, a label. What we do, we give GTK widget because a label is also a GTK widget, and then we say it is a label, right? So it is a label, and its value is GTK label new. So we want to create a label, so we give GTK underscore, then we give what widget do we want to create. We want to create the label widget, so we give label, and then we give underscore new to create a new label widget, and whatever will be written on it is my label. So that label in the start on it will be written my label, right? So over here this creates a GTK label called label. So this is creating a GTK label called label with the text my label. So it has the text my label in it. We then call another GTK container add to add the label to the window, right? So build and run the code and see what happens. So over here, after this, after creating this label, we are just adding it once again to our GTK container, to our window by typecasting it to a GTK container. So we have typecasted window to a GTK container and adding label into it, right? Quite normal. And then we're just showing all the widgets, right? And we are passing it window. So this is just telling to show the window with all the widgets inside it, and then we're just handing the control over to GTK. Now we should get a label on our screen. So let's compile this, and you can learn about that statement that I just run in my first video of GTK, but I'll just show it to you. The compile statement is gcc and then our file name main.c and the o flag, and then we give main. So this will be main, will be our executable file. Then in backticks we have given package config and then dash dash c flags, right? So we're given c flags and dash dash libs and then GTK plus plus 2.0, right? So GTK plus 2.0. So now this is compiled, and now let's just run main. So this is our executable file over here. Now let's see what is happening. Oh, I can't see any label. Can you guys? I really can't see any label on the screen. What could have been gone wrong? Let's see at the console what basically the console is saying. So console is saying attempting to add a widget with type label to a GTK window, right? So we are attempting to do that, but as a GTK bin, so basically that is for binary. So as a GTK binary subclass, a GTK window can only contain one widget at a time. So it can only contain one widget at a time. It already contains a widget of type GTK button. So our console has directly told us that so our console is directly telling us that a window can contain one widget at one time, right? And there's already a GTK button widget added to our window, so now it can contain no more widgets. How can we solve this? Let's further see how we can solve this. A window with a button but no label. What's gone wrong? Well, if you look at the terminal window, you can get a clue. You should see an error message telling you that a GTK window can only contain one widget at a time, and that is one already contains that this one already contains a GTK button. So we can see this same error message. So you can only put one widget into a window, but we want to have two, a button and a label. That's not going to work unless. So this is not gonna work unless we use a thing called boxes. So there are boxes in. So there are some boxes in our basically what we say in GTK, right? So we are allowed to create boxes, and using them we can add multiple widgets on a screen. So how? So like our GTK window can only contain one widget. For example, you create a box and you add lots of widgets in it, right? But that box is one whole widget. That box is itself one widget. and then you try to add the whole box in your GTK window, it will allow you to do that because your box is one widget. Inside that you have a lot of widgets, but your box is one whole widget, and only one widget is allowed on your screen, so you can add that box itself. And boxes are so cool. So basically, boxes are a UI toolkit that only so let's see what boxes are. A UI toolkit that only allowed you to put one thing at a time on a window would be a bit limited. So, like for example, you want to, like you have 5 widgets to add. You won't create 5 windows for that to add 5 widgets. That will be too much for the user and nobody will use your application. So while a window can only contain one widget, GTK has several widgets which can be used to hold sets of other widgets. The two most useful ones are boxes and tables. We'll stick to boxes for now as they are easier to use, but we will look at tables in my future videos. So there are two types of box widgets which are called GTK Edge box and GTK V box. And as the name suggests, one is a horizontal box and one is a vertical box. In GTK Edge box, all your widgets will be displayed horizontally. But in a GTK V box, all your widgets will be displayed vertically. These are short for horizontal box and vertical box depending on how the widgets you put into the box are to be arranged. A box widget can hold an unlimited number of other widgets but appears to its parent as a single widget. So its parent, like the window will see that the box is one whole widget. In that you have unlimited widgets, right? You can have unlimited widgets and there are no limitations, and your parent window, the parent, that is the window, will only get one whole widget, that is the box, in which there are other widgets. So it will see there is only one widget, so it will show it. But in a box there were so many widgets, so that's how you can show multiple widgets on your screen. So can be used to put multiple widgets into a window. We are going to use a GTK V box for this example. So let's use a GTK V box for this example. Let's study the code first. Let's save this and let's study the code. Till now it is the same till end program, right? Now over here we have our main method, the same. We are initializing GTK, that's the same. We are creating our two widgets, that's the same. We are connecting two signals, one to the button and one to the window, that is the same thing. But I'm just mix and match with the how to display it. So okay, so the signals are the same, our label is the same, but now we are creating another GTK widget, that is a box. So we are creating another GTK widget and that is a box. And what we are calling GTK, we are giving underscore, then we are saying which box to create. We want to create a vertical box, so we'll say V box, right? Because we want to create a vertical box, so we are saying V box. That V stands for vertical, so this will create a vertical box for us. And then we are giving new, so this will create a new vertical box for us, and then we are passing it false and 5. Let's look at this line in depth. This line above creates a new GTK vertical box widget. The two parameters to the call are whether or not the box is homogeneous, which means it assigns the same amount of space to every widget it holds, and the spacing in pixels between the widgets it holds. So basically this is saying that whether the box is homogeneous or not. Basically if it is false, then it will say how the space required for a widget. So the space required for a widget, it will occupy that much space only if we give false. But if we give true, it will give all the widgets equal space. So in this case the box is not homogeneous. Each widget will only be allocated as much space as it needs, and there will be a gap of 5 pixels between the two widgets we are putting into it. So there will be a gap of 5 pixels in every widget we put into it. Then what we are doing, we are calling GTK box pack start, passing it a GTK box, right? So we are passing it a box, but we are typecasting it to a GTK box to stay sure, right? So we have, this was not really needed, but to stay sure that a box is only being passed to GTK box pack start, we have just typecasted our vertical box to a GTK box. So this is a vertical box. Now we just want to pass one common box to GTK box pack start, right? So we want to pass one common box, not a vertical or horizontal box, but one GTK box. So that we are passing it to pack start one GTK box, right? And saying which widget to add into that box, right? Not a vertical box or horizontal box specifically, just a box. What widget to add in that box? We want to add the label widget, and then we have given true, true, 0. We look into these right now afterwards, and then we are calling GTK box pack start again. We have given it box as an argument, and then we are seeing which widget to add. We want to add the button widget, so that's why we have passed it button. So in the box now we have two widgets, a label widget and our button widget, and then we have given true, true, 0 once again. So let's look at this. The GTK box pack start function puts a widget into a box. Widgets are added in the order that calls to this functions are made. So like if you call the GTK box pack start function and add a label to it, so the label will be on the top. Then you add a button to it, so the button will be next. Then you add another button to it, so the another button will be next, right? So basically, so the GTK box pack start function puts a widget into a box. Widgets are added in the order that calls to this functions are made, and the start at the end indicates that widgets are placed in the box from the start end, which is the top of a V box or the left hand side of an H box. There's also a GTK box pack end function which adds a widget which adds widgets from the bottom or right hand side. The function takes 5, so we'll just test this out and all. So the function takes 5 arguments. The first is the name of the box we are packing the widgets into, and the second is the widget we want to put into the box. The remaining 3 arguments control how the widget is positioned in the box. We'll look at this later on, right? And then we are just calling GTK container add and just giving it window as a so casting a window widget to a container widget, and then just adding a box into it. So box is one whole widget, so it will allow us to add box, and then it will just show all. So it will call GTK widget show all, so it will show all the widgets into our window, and then it will just hand over the control to our main method. So now over here what we need to see, we will get a label and a button. So we have compiled this, and then we'll just test out, and then main. So now if you see this, you can see, guys, you'll just not see me for 2 seconds, but yeah. So you can see over here, guys, this is a label. It is not clickable, so you can't see any effects of a click, while this is a window button, close window button. So when I hover it, the color changes, and then when I press it, I've just kept the button holding, so that's why it is darker, and then I've left it so the press is complete, and then basically it closes the window. So now let's just see this once again. As you can see, I have my label over here and then a close window button, and my label has no effects of a button that are coming on our button, right? So a label has been added. Now let's try this with GTK box pack start end. Let's try this with end. Let's see what happens. Sorry, first we need to compile this. I didn't compile, and I opened PowerPoint by mistake while opening first quit PowerPoint. Yeah, I force created for a PowerPoint. You guys should not take the risk. So let's compile this code first, and then just now over here. Now guys, look, it is now adding the widgets from the end. So as you can see over here, look at this. A close window function is above our label. Our label is below now because we have given GTK box pack end. When we were giving GTK box pack start, what was happening? A label was being added. Then second we were adding a button. So below it the button was being added. Now when we have given end, so the label will be added at the end, and then above it the button will be added, right? So this order, what whichever you prefer you can keep. I prefer start because I prefer having my uh, label first. Okay, so this was some cool stuff over here. Now we have another example, but with not one, not two, but three widgets. So this is another example with not one, not two, but three widgets in it. So now what we are creating a count variable. Its value is 0. We have our end program method, and our count variable was basically global, and this end program method is the same. Then we have a count button method that we'll come to afterwards. Right now let's look at the main method. We are getting argc and argv that we are passing to GTK init, right? Then we are creating a two widgets, window and button. We are we are attaching the event listeners, handlers to it, right? So whenever the click signal on the button comes or the delete event signal on the window comes, then call end program. This is explained in depth in my buttons video. And we are creating a widget label, GTK widget label, and this is also creating a new label for us, that is my label. And then we are creating another GTK widget, but that is button 2. This is our second button, and its value is GTK button new with label. So on it, there will be written count button. So button 2 is a GTK button type widget that is basically a button, but on it will be written count button. So on the button there would be written count button. Then we are attaching a signal, a click signal to button 2 also, and the callback function is count button. So this is saying whenever button 2 will be clicked, the method that is passed to G callback will be called, that is count button. So now count button will be called. What is passed to the count button method? One is the widget that invoked. So one is the widget because of which the count button method is invoked. So because of button 2, the count button method has been invoked. So that's why the widget button 2 is being passed to count button. Then over here we have, instead of null over here, we have given label. This is the second argument that is passed, and in G pointer, that is our general purpose pointer, we will get our label. So now after whenever, basically for example, let's see, like it is clicked. So now the count button method is clicked. So now what will happen? We are creating a string buffer, and it can only contain 30 characters, 29 to be specific, and the last character is for our string terminator. Then we are incrementing the global variable count. Then we are changing the value of our string using sprintf, and we are passing which string to change. We are changing the buffer's value, and in this we are writing button pressed %d times %d. We are replacing %d with whatever count is. So whenever we press it one time, count will be 1, and then it will show button pressed 1 times. Then whenever we press it once again, then it will show button pressed count times, that is 2 times, and then it will go on like this. After having the correct value that we need to show on our label in buffer, what we'll do, we'll call GTK label set text. So we are calling GTK label set text, and then we are passing pointer to it and casting it to a label, right? So we are casting a pointer that we in which we got label to a label. So in a pointer we got label, and we are casting that to a GTK label to remain safe. And now we are passing our label. Now a label has gone, and then we are writing giving it the string with which we want to replace the text. So whatever text there was before, we are replacing that with our buffer text, that has button press dash many times, so some count many times, right? So now whenever this will be pressed, our labels text will be updated. Let's move on. We are creating our vertical box, right? And we have false and 5 in it, and then we are doing GTK box pack start, and first we are adding button 2, right? Then we are adding label, and then we are adding button. Finally, we are calling GTK container add, passing it window and typecasting it. First typecasting window to GTK container and passing it. So in our window, that is our container, we want to add our box in which there is button 2, label, and a button. And then we are just showing all widgets. So in our window we are just showing all our widgets, and then handing the control to GTK itself. So now whenever our button 2 will be pressed, then first of all it will show button pressed 1 times, then it will show button pressed 2 times, then it will show button pressed 3 times, button pressed 4 times, button pressed 5 times, and it will go on like this. Let's compile this code. And we just executed, and you can see guys over here that we have count button, label, and our close window button. Very slick. I press count button, and it is showing button press 1 times. Press it once again, button press 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and I can press this forever. And look, if I do this with my thumb, look at this, how fast I do it. Oh, this is quite fast. Oh, sorry. Pretty fast. And then we just press close window, and it closes the window. One last thing before ending the video is to show you guys how it will look in a horizontal box. So now let's compile this. Then main. So let's see how it looks in a horizontal box. You can see how it is looking in a horizontal box. We get count button like this, then our label like this, and then close window like this. And then press count button, it is showing it like this, and then when I press close window, it just closes the window. And this was it for labels and other types of layout, guys. I hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Bye.